Hi, welcome to my first devlog for my game Sin offering. Um, just a heads up, this is still a work in progress, so there's a lot of bugs, template art, and other quirks. I won't have a build to play for another few months, but I felt like I'm already at a point now where I feel like I can show it off. I spent the last year or so basically working on a lot of um, base systems, and they're at a point now where I'm comfortable, basically showing the game off. But let me go to the first city. Yeah, let me just give you a quick description. So in Sin Offering, you play a high priest who's performing these atonement offerings for these destitute citizens in a collapsing empire. Uh, the sin offerings are based off the they were called Holocaust offerings in the Torah or Old Testament. Um, the game isn't going to be particularly religious or anything like that. I just thought it was a really cool narrative that was interesting context for an action game. And but yeah, so obviously it's a 2D, 3D game. It's a very interesting art style that's been coming up the last couple of years since Octopath Traveler, and I thought it looked really cool. But it seems like that art style is mostly being used for JRPG type games. So I'm very much trying to develop an action game. My design goals were to make an action game that's very visceral. It's stylish in the sense of I guess the closest analog would be Devil May Cry 1, where before he got too crazy with all the style stuff. Instead, it's a little bit more grounded, but I was thinking, like, even if you aren't playing the game, you're just watching, you're like, that's cool as shit, that's some cool stuff happening on screen. Um, but yeah, in terms of what the gameplay is like, I guess I'll just show you. The most direct comparisons, I would say it's like a combination. Oh, let me take off this thing. All right. It would be a combination of Super Crate Box, that came from 2012. I'm forgetting, I think it was Lambier that made it. Yeah, so it's a combination of Super Crate Box and Resident Evil 4's Mercenary mode. So yeah, it's I originally wanted to make it something like Castlevania, where you're exploring and going through these large interconnected maps, looking through the nooks and crannies for different weapons and secrets. But I know that I don't have the time and the resources to make something like that, since it's just me making it. So I decided to limit myself, and I thought that specifically Resident Evil 4's Mercenaries mode was like a good a good compromise, because if you haven't played it yet, the Mercenaries mode in Resident Evil 4 basically like little cutouts of maps from the main single player game. They were small to medium size, and what was interesting about them was that it allowed for some exploration in those maps, but they were all in service of the combat, and in service of the mode's objectives. There was two objectives that I can think off the top of my head. I think it was like a time attack and a score attack, and I mean those are self-explanatory. And Super Crate Box is like that, where basically the main game mechanic the main mechanic in Super Crate Box is that you start off at the beginning of a round, and you're collecting, I think, 10 boxes around, and every time you collect the box, you have your weapon automatically switches out for a random one. And I liked that mode, and I decided to expand on it and include the other modes that were in Mercenaries mode. And I designed my, I guess I would call it my game mode system, so that I have currently 4 or 5 modes. So I have something like what I said with Super Crate Box, where you're basically, picking up random weapons in order to win. There's another one where you're earning points to win. There's another one that's it's a time attack, so it's time is dwindling down, but every time you kill an enemy, you get a little bit more time, and the more time, the longer you survive, the better you do. And I have another one too, but I can't remember right now. But yeah, so it's a combination of those two in terms of what you're basically going to be doing during the game. And like Resident Evil 4's Mercenaries mode, every time you end a round, you basically go back to the hub world. I'll return to it in a little bit after I show you a little play session. You return to it, and then basically you get to spend right now it's currently, I have 2 resources, Silver and Faith. I'm going to keep Silver. Faith, I'm not feeling the name, but Faith is the other resource, and you use that to upgrade your abilities, and you use Silver to basically buy weapons and upgrade them. And I think I'm going to use the Silver to purchase these charms that essentially give you a special ability as well. And you can only equip 1 to 2 of those at a time. Let me just select an offering and show you the main gameplay. So, this is going to be a little rough, so, just keep in mind. Okay, so this is the random box one. So there you go, I got my shotgun. Right now these enemies are simple. I'm going to improve on their AI this year. I'll explain what's going on with that Mega Man sprite. It's a old sprite. Damn. There we go. But yeah, so I have multi-directional shooting, so if you hold the right bumper, again, of course, I don't have a walking or an aiming animation, so it kind of looks like it's locked up, but it's not. But yeah, so you have multi-directional shooting. You have this is the core mechanic, and it's the dash attack. And what it does is it slows down time, and you're able, let me try to get 2 of these, you're able to like mark 2 guys, and then you slice right through them, and when you do that, they drop health. I like the moment-to-moment gameplay and the way you collect resources in Doom Eternal. That was another inspiration, just in this instance, where you basically get to choose what you want from the enemy. So if you slice them with a dash attack, you'll get health. If you kill them with a weapon like your gun, you'll drop silver. And currently, it's not fully implemented yet, so I don't want to show it, but there's a melee attack, and you'll use that to get health. I'm sorry, to get right now, just consider it like MP, magic power or whatever. You'll use the melee attack to acquire more of that when it's running low. But it also recharges, but it recharges slowly. Currently, I have it set to like sort of recharges fast and stuff, so it's not really a problem right now, and I'm not, it's not really. I have like a million life points right now, so I'm not gonna die or anything like that. Just I have it like that just so I can, for demonstration purposes, obviously. But yeah, so shooting them gets you silver, slicing them up gets you life, and this upcoming melee attack gets you a little bit of magic power, so you're able to perform this dash attack. If you see that there's that red bar that's filling up, it would usually fill up a lot faster. It's basically a timer. It's like, hey, you have that much time to basically complete the dash attack. If you don't, it's gonna automatically do it for you. And if you don't do anything, you'll just you can just cancel out if you want. But yeah, essentially it's just like slicing these dudes up with it and stuff, and then blood comes out, and I don't know, it looks pretty cool. I'll show it more in detail without the black and white post-process effect, so you can get an idea of what's going on, because yeah, I'd spent some time working on the blood and slicing up these meshes, these sprites last year, and it doesn't really show off that well with this post-process effect. And I'll explain what's going on with that Mega Man mesh, because it'll make sense once I go through the blood system. But like I said, so let me just rush through this so I can collect these boxes. So this is one of the modes. There's another variation of this, where you have to kill at least 3 enemies in order to collect the box, because there's like this shield over it, and if you touch the shield, it automatically kills you. So this is another weapon that I have. This was inspired by Super Crate Box as well. It's like these like blades that bounce off the wall. Right now they're supposed to be capped at 3, but I have them. The disc or the blades. Sorry, they can only hit 3 objects before they get destroyed, as you can see. But yeah, so essentially it just slices enemies up and it bounces off the wall. I thought it'd be a cool like defensive weapon where like you can kind of bounce it at edges of the wall, and if you have a bunch of enemies coming through, you can sort of like focus on getting some item while this thing got your back. I have it turned off, but this thing could kill you as well, so there is a risk-reward factor when it comes to this weapon. But let's see. I'm just trying. This is the double gun. It's kind of explanatory, but I'll kind of go more into like the weapons right after this. I guess this is going to be a longer video than I thought it was, so just bear with me. And this is the shotgun. I'll show it off more. Right now, it seems a little chaotic. And here's the rocket launcher, but there we go. An evade maneuver. Let me just collect the last one. Okay. Okay, so that's the game. It's going to consist of you basically completing a round or an offering, and whatever goods like silver and faith that you earned, you can go back to the hub world and spend them. So let's go back. Sorry, it's just... Oh, there we go. Ooh. All right. So yeah. So let me go through some of the weapons while I'm here. Okay. So we've... Hold on. Okay, that's good. Just checking how much... Okay. Yeah, so I started off with more weapons, but just given how much time I have and what I can realistically do, I limited to 5. And each of these weapons is going to have an alternate fire that you can unlock. I'm kind of like trying to combine the secondary fire and then the transform the secondary fires from Doom Eternal and the transformation mechanic in Bloodborne, where essentially like you have a weapon that shoots one way, but when you unlock the alternate fire, it behaves differently. But I like the idea that when you switch it in real time, it performs some type of damage or has some effect in the way that the transformation weapons do in Bloodborne. And I want that so it can basically allow for some, I say this in air quotes, combos with the guns. So it's like, you'll be firing a weapon in one way. For example, the disc launcher, you saw how it behaved. Essentially shoots a blade and it bounces off the walls. It'll slice through enemies, but after it hitting the walls about 3 times, it disappears. But the secondary fire, what it does is you're only allowed to shoot one blade, and when the blade hits an enemy, it attaches to that enemy, and when you let go of the fire button, the blade will return back to you, and it will go through any enemy that is in your way. It won't kill them, it won't slice them like it would do in its primary fire. It'll just cause a little bit of damage. But I want it so that you can sort of combo into each fire mode essentially. And when you start off the game at first, you're going to only be able to equip one weapon at a time, or in the case of, let's say you're playing that random gun box mode, you'll only be able to have one weapon, but as you progress, you're going to be able to earn enough silver to unlock a secondary weapon slot. So when you're playing the random gun box mode, you'll be able to have 2 guns, and every time you unlock a new box, the current weapon that you have equipped is going to get swapped out. But you still have that second weapon there just in case, you want to keep it, or maybe until like you find another weapon that you like that you can keep. But yeah, I mean, so these are the weapons, the dual pistol, the dual pistols, the secondary fire is that you're going to be able to set the weapons so they fire in alternate directions. Otherwise, the primary fire, you're shooting in the same direction, but you get a little bit more of a damage boost. The shotgun, I have a couple ideas for a secondary fire, but I'm not committed to anything yet right now. Same thing with the Gatling gun and the RPG. I just need to figure out which one it's more interesting to me, at least in terms of sticking to my design goal of having it be really visceral and feels it gives the primary fire it's like a nice complement to the primary fire. But yeah, I guess as this project goes further along, I'll figure it out. But anyway, yeah, so like I said, you can upgrade them, and then here you would be able to, it's not just the fire rate and weapon damage, but you're going to be able to also upgrade the secondary fire abilities as well. Now let's go. But you would use silver for this, and from this blacksmith character, you'd also be able to, maybe not the blacksmith character, honestly, but maybe I'm going to have a separate merchant that you're going to be able to buy the charms, and the charms you can only equip 1 at first, or later on 2, and they're basically slight augmentations for your character. It might be something like, oh, you don't have to run to silver to get it. Instead, it just automatically comes to you. Maybe it's for all of the drops for enemies, you know. Maybe something as like a speed boost. Yeah, like, you know, there's a couple ideas that that I'm thinking of, but anyway, so in terms of the upgrade tree, this is where you're going to be able to just improve your players' abilities and their basic stats like health, magic, strength, and speed. So I'm kind of basing this off of the game control. Originally, I didn't want to have an unlock system, but I wanted to have a reason, a substance, a significant reason to want to replay the game and continue playing. So I thought, like, yeah, like it makes sense to have some upgrade system, but essentially, you can unlock all this stuff. But one of my favorite things about Control was that there was this passive upgrade system where you didn't need to use any of your I forget what the resource was called, but in my game it's called faith. So it's like in the bottom you have that bar. Let me show you. So that bottom you have that bar, and essentially let's do the hold A, sorry. You have that bar, and the more you use faith, that bar fills up. And once you reach that's you complete that first third, you unlock. Right now, I'm thinking that maybe like it can be like one of the side abilities, like the double jump or the double evade, or even increasing the timer for how long you can hold the dash before it does it for you. But I wanted so that you don't actually have to use your faith on it to unlock it, because you're only going to use it specifically for your player stats and your ability stats, and it's just like a nice little extra unlock because you're doing so well. And of course you can respec your abilities. Hold that, sorry. Oh, what the hell, it's not working. Okay, well, whatever. But yeah, you're able to respec your abilities. But yeah, every time you want to go back and purchase something, you would return to this hub world. Let's see. Sorry, let me just bring up my notes. So I went over the main gameplay and loop, kind of went over my design goals with, it being visceral, depth with, the combat, just stylish. Yeah, so in terms of my aesthetic goals, I came in with the intention of making, a 3D, 2D game. I really like that visual style from Octopath Traveler, and it seems like that art style is mostly just being used for JRPGs, so I just wanted to incorporate it into a really cool action game. And I wanted it to be black and white, monochromatic, but the only color you can see is red. And I'll show you how I had it originally, but I've figured that I might have to make my own shader at some point, so that way I can get the look that I want. But I'll show you what it looked like before, because I was just basically making all the sprites black and white, and the only thing that was colored was red. But I'm going to have to make my own shader to implement it the way I'm imagining it. But the other aesthetic goal was that I wanted it to be tactile, and that kind of plays into what I'm doing with my blood system and last year I spent a bunch of time figuring out how I can get Unity's lighting system to work with sprites, so that way they get, not only do they like get shaded in darker areas realistically, you can kind of see it there, but you can get these shadows, dynamic shadows. But the issue is, at least right now, is that it doesn't completely, the shadow doesn't take the shape of the character the way like it would realistically do, and shadow would realistically do. So I'm still gonna have to fix that. But that goes into the thing of being tactile, even though it's like, you know, it's a 2D sprite and it's obviously like these 3D meshes. But I thought it would be interesting if, you know, those natural sort of phenomenons like shadow and the way liquids interact with the 3D models still behave realistically, you know. But yeah, you know what? Let me pause and I'll show what I mean. Let me bring this up. I think I might just be able to drag the video over. Yeah, I think I might just do that. Sorry. It's just, I just had these videos. Oh, great. Oh, here we go. Oh, not this one. Okay, this is from like a few months ago, so sorry, bear with me. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so I spent some time last year in basically trying to get my blood system to interact with both the 2D sprites and the 3D meshes, just to, you know, be able to make it feel, make the game feel tactile, despite it being, you know, where's the other video? So, as you can see, oh, there we go. As you can see, like, this is why the Mega Man sprite was appearing randomly. It's because basically the way I have it set up right now, okay, I might just have this on infinite loop while I'm talking. Can I do that? Repeat? But yes, so what's currently happening right now is that Unity's particle system is interacting both with the 3D mesh in the scene and the 2D sprites. So this took me a cool bit to figure out how to get it working accurately. But essentially, I have two sprites, two animated sprites that move exactly the same the whole time. One is specifically just a non-blood covered version of the character or enemy, and the other one is already covered in red, basically, because it's blood. And what those particles do is when they touch the character sprites, they essentially an alpha mask attaches onto the character sprite, and it basically reveals the second sprite that's just basically you know, a bloody character. But yeah, I was trying to figure out how I was gonna make it work, so I got it. It's obviously still a little janky looking. Like, I think the sprite, the blood, like, disappears too quick. Because it's for optimization reasons. I'm still, you know, messing with certain parameters and stuff. But the whole point is that I was trying to make it, you know, again, tactile. So it's like it feels real the way that these gory elements interact with the environment and the sprites. But yeah, and then as you can see, the shadow, like, it's right there basically. So again, it feels like these things would behave in a realistic 3D environment, even though they're sprites. But But yeah, and the other thing that I spent on last year working on was the slicing system, because like I had to cut the sprites, right? And then B, I had to make those slices basically interact realistically, physics-wise, with the environment. And essentially, I have like two different types of collisions. One specifically for the 3D environment, and another one for the 2D sprites, so they can interact with some of the 2D behaviors. This stuff I might break down further later on. I might just show you what it looks like in the inspector in a little bit, but because it did take me some time to figure out. But yeah, this is just me testing the slice mechanic, seeing how many I can cut up. But it was basically what I was trying to do. It was like, having these corpses, still move around and, feel like they're still interactive. I think I have another video. Yeah, here's a single guy. But yeah, this isn't predefined. It's like you choose how you want to cut it in the same way you would slice a fruit in Fruit Ninja. I don't know. And you slice perfectly, and then it just falls over, and now the blood can land. This is prior to the blood particles working, so you can see that it's not staining the environment or the player like it was here. Where's that video again? Oh yeah, same. Yeah, hopefully that makes more sense. So when you were seeing the that weird Mega Man sprite pop up, it's because it was the second bloody sprite that was appearing, because the blood alpha mask were unveiling. Unveiling, is that even a word? Revealing the blood sprite that's attached to this player. Oh no, this isn't the one. Sorry. There we go. Yeah. So that red Mega Man is not. It's not the same one as the gray one. It's a separate sprite. So when you were seeing it during the gameplay, it's because my character was supposed to be bloody, but instead it's the older Mega Man bloody sprite that was appearing. But it's the same thing with that enemy as well. I'll show a little bit more of it in the inspector just so it makes a bit more sense. But yeah, so in that video, actually, the original way I was going to do it was that black and white aesthetic. Was I was just going to maintain. I was just going to keep most of the materials in the game and the sprites black and white, like, just in some gray as well, and then have the lights and the blood be the only thing that are colored. But there's a lot of cool post-processing effects that I want to use, like ambient occlusion, depth of field, just in order to make it feel tactile, feel more real, like it's like an actual camera, rendering the game. But I can't show the red, so I'm going to have to create my own shader sometime in the near future to be able to do that. Again, all this stuff I'm probably going to make a video about later on, but yeah. Okay, so let's go back to the game. Okay, So as I explained, you're performing these offerings. So you're showing up to these cities. The offerings have there's what's going on there. Okay, so it's like these are all lorem ipsum. So it doesn't really say anything. There's just random gun box shield as one offering type, time attack, random gun box. Oh, I guess I don't have another one in there. Okay, yeah, there's a fourth one. I just don't have it in this city. But yeah, so you'll see the reward underneath, and then underneath that, once you complete it, it'll give you a grade, and it's whatever out of 5. So you can replay it, just try to get a better score, or beat it in a faster time, and you'll receive a grade. And then that grade, depending on what grade you get, you'll earn more faith at the very end. More faith in silver, sorry. But let's go back to the hub world and see if there's anything else. I'm sorry if I'm coming off a little disorganized, but it's like kind of hard to talk and play and kind of go over my points. Okay, let's see. So I talked about my aesthetic goals, design pillars, kind of a description of the game. You know what? Kind of went over the upgrade tree stuff. Went over the weapons a little bit. Yeah, I guess the last thing is that I won't get too deep into it, but it's more about like a narrative-wise. Let me just go back to that city. Those offerings in that description is going to be like a sort of exposition for the character, like what's the sin that they want to atone for and stuff. And it's basically going to be like its own little story. So when you complete the sin offering, if you complete it correctly, you'll have a little description of it, sort of like ending the story essentially. So there's a little arc in those descriptions, but I want one sort of story thread that's continuing in each city. So there's definitely one narrative with its own arc, but that will continue in each city. But for the most part, most of the offerings you complete are self-contained, and they're a self-contained story, and the story will be told in that description at the beginning right here, and then at the end of the match once you complete it successfully. I'm not sure if I have to go anything. But yeah, so I guess I'll just start wrapping up now. Going way past what I thought I was. So yeah, so moving forward, I want to do these bi-weekly, just giving updates on where I'm at least in the near future. I'm going to be working on the secondary fire for the weapons, and I want to refactor a lot of my code for my my weapon system. They're currently game objects, and I kind of want to move them over into a scriptable object just because it actually seems more efficient and a lot more convenient to use, especially for my player controller. Right now, my game has, like, I don't like the fact that, like, I can't drop my player into a random map. It's too attached to these other systems, like my UI system, the reward system, all these other things that are basically trying to find a reference to the player, and I want to decouple that stuff a bit more. So that's going to be for sure something I want to complete soon. I have a Trello, so I'm probably going to make it public, and just let people sort of follow my my progress and what my tasks are. So you can just glance at that if you'd like. But yeah, as in terms of like what these devlogs are going to be, or just like just obviously just updating what the progress is. But I kind of wouldn't mind sharing how I did some of that stuff with I think, because I don't think I've seen uh, like a tutorial on how to like, hey, dynamically have the particles interact with a 2D sprite and a 3D environment. Because I'm pretty sure there's other developers out there that are, trying to implement this art style and would probably, want to use that method for some other reason. But, you kind of like, it's just to like help them out, I guess, because it does take a little bit of research just to get it solved. But yeah, in terms of my game though, I hope that by the end of the year I can basically be content complete, where the 4 maps are done. My 4 weapons are done, including the secondary fire. I can have my enemies complete, and I'll have the offerings with their narratives and their objectives completed. And I'm not implementing any items. It's not that type of game where I want you to be able to like just have like a bomb or a health. I want your abilities and your weapons to be the main tools that you use, and obviously the dash mechanic. I guess something I didn't mention is that when you're aiming, I mentioned you can do multi-directional shooting, but when you're aiming, you move slower. But when you're just moving without aiming, you're only able to shoot in the direction you're facing, like like a 2D game would. But yeah, I mean, just remembered. Let's see. Sorry. Trying to think of anything else. Here's my gun. But yeah, like I said, so like I was saying, yeah, I'm gonna just have it so these devlogs are just progress, and then I might have tutorials on how I got some of those other systems made, and yeah, I just hope that by the end of the year, you can play this game from beginning to end, even though the art won't be there yet, but you'll be able to finish it. But I'm gonna need people to start playing it by April, just so I can already start getting feedback in terms of how the game feels, and just start working on that, implementing that feedback, at least the useful feedback. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, I kind of went over it. Yeah, so I think I'm going to end it here. This has gone longer than I thought it was, and it was not as organized, even though I had my notes. But yeah, so I hope in about 2 weeks I'll have another video and have some more weapons implement, or the alt fires for some of these weapons implemented, and I'll be able to decouple some of that code for the player controller, so I can just have them be able to just drop them in and out from any scene, and it won't mess with the save system, the offering system that basically dictates, like, it's basically like the game manager. Yeah, But I don't know. It's kind of funny because like I did this because it seems like it's like the best thing to do just to put your game out there before it gets out, just to get people looking at it, and then I want people to play it at least just to get feedback because that's crucial early on. Um, and I was watching like other devlog videos, and it's like these highly polished videos, and it's like it almost comes off like a video essay of their game, and I knew that like I was like, oh, I'm gonna try to attempt to do that, and this is not that at all. But anyway, yeah, I won't take up any more of your time. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys later. Thank you.